Really happy to be hosting this event tonight. I'm Amaury. I joined Intis in January 2021. And tonight we're going to present you the iTalks. So at Intis, I'm responsible of leading a project in supply chain management for some Belgium hospitals. Tonight we will use the Vivox app. So please take your smartphone and you can scan the QR code. It's really easy. We're going to use it in order to interact with the speakers. So just scan it. And you will find on the right window, the right icon, the chat icon. So the chat will be here to interact, as I said, with the speakers. Please ask all the questions you want, and I will try to select some of the questions. You have one special feature, which is the like. So you can like for the question you like the most, and I will select some questions. Sorry. Also, if you want to ask a question to a specific speaker, please name him first and then ask a question. So if it's for Virasac, you can say Virasac, and after you ask a question to Virasac, otherwise it's going to be for both of them. Thank you. So I'm just going to present quickly what are the iTalks. So the iTalks is an initiative launched earlier this year by the MPEX team. The goal of the iTalks is to allow a team of Intisers to explore their entrepreneurial skills by leading an edition from scratch to finish with the support of the MPEX team. So if you want to be part of the next development team, or if you want to share with us some inspirational talks, don't hesitate to reach out Iri or Amandine from the MPEX team. The theme of the first edition was how to build the career of tomorrow, and tonight we're going to go with decision-making process towards success. We want to provide active and accurate support in developing careers at Intis. So the speakers are here tonight to inspire younger colleagues, finding themselves their professional path, especially the one looking for growth within Intis, but not limited to Intis. You remain 100% in the wheel of your own career, and you want to avoid someone else taking your wheel. By sharing real-life decision-making stories, both successful and unsuccessful, which led to effective career moves, we give the opportunities to Intis employees to learn from senior colleagues. This event has been made by Intisers for Intisers, and I hope you will find during this edition sources of inspiration to help you take your future decisions. Thank you very much, and we're going to start with a quick presentation of the speakers. So Heleye on my left side, Virasac on my right side. Three quick questions. When did you start at Intis? What do you do at Intis? And what are your hobbies outside of Intis? Virasac, you can start.
Everyone, so I'm very glad to see all of you here tonight. To make a long story short, I started within Intis almost 10 years ago. So in 2 months' time, I will go to my 10th anniversary here. Within Intis, I have the accountability of managing what we call, let's say, delivery projects, which means that I'm working as a cross-industry and I'm trying to offer tailor-made solutions to our customers. To also, in 3 weeks' time now, I will get my 45 years old anniversary, so getting a bit younger again. And I'm French, living in Belgium almost for 20 years, 4 kids. Few of them are just behind here the scenes. In terms of hobby, I think that just like enjoying friends and family, standard.
Heleye, nice to meet you all. My name is Heleye, I'm 27. I've been working at Intis since January 19. And more specifically, I've been working with Luminous since April 2019, same year then. What I do for Luminous
data analysis, so I try to make the data a little bit more sexy, a little bit more visual, a little bit more understandable, so the business can get use of the data. My hobbies, I think it's the usual stuff. I like quality times with friends, going out, traveling. Recently, I've been starting to get into photography, so that's pretty much who I am.
Okay, perfect. Just before to start, we have a small quiz, and we're going to start with 2 truths, 1 lie about Heleye. So, do you think he has a twin brother? Do you think he has been comedian for more than 4 years? I mean, he never been comedian then? And do you think that he's not related to all LAers in the world? So raise your hand if you think that he has a twin brother. No one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8. Let's say 8. Who think he has been a comedian? I mean, never been comedian.
I used to be, maybe.
You used to be, maybe. Okay, never. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Or I'm a very good comedian.
Okay, we are around like 12, so maybe. And who think is not related to all LAA in the world? Okay, interesting.
So that's the lie.
Yeah, maybe. Huh?
Maybe.
No, it's not, because the game was to find the lie.
Okay.
You understood it, huh? Yeah? Not sure. Okay, so LAA, could you give us this?
Ça va. I will start maybe with the last one. So I am actually related to every person on the world who shares the same first name as me. So I'm from Djibouti, a small country in the Horn of Africa. And actually, we are also divided into tribes. LAA was the first leader of my tribe, and every person who has the same name is part of the same tribe. So we have a common ancestor. When I was younger, I've done some acting classes. I played in theaters, did some improv. So I used to be comedian for 4.5 years. And unfortunately, I don't have a twin brothers. I do have 2 wonderful sisters, but no twin.
Okay, let's go, and we're gonna try to discover one of the biggest myths of Intis. In 1989, what was the color of Virasak's hair? 3 propositions. So the first one, he never had any hair and might retire without it if we don't get some business in Istanbul, Turkey. Really not known for implants. The second one, he was platinum blonde and used to play in a band. And the third one, he was dark hair, kind of casual. Okay, so raise your hand if you think we have to develop the business in Istanbul. Okay, no one wants to go there. Platinum blonde. Okay, and dark, I think like most of you. And here's the proof. He had some hair before.
That's me. Goddamn genetics.
Okay, so we can start with the second edition of the iTalks, and I'm going to ask the first question, the first topic, to Virasak. How do you deal with important decisions in your life?
Well, maybe one thing that I would like to share before answering this question is that, in my opinion, important decisions are related to all the projects, activities that would impact yourself and others. And this is also related to things that you have to do for others and with others. And what I have noticed is that with the years, moving by, and then I have noticed that, okay, the more, let's say, you evolve in your life, in your career, professionally and personally, the more decision you would have to take every day. So it means that every day you have to increase the number of important decisions, because important decisions are not only professional based but also personal based. But reality is that a day is still 24 hours, which means that the way I let's say manage my my approach of decision making is really to work on energy, which means that I do not want to waste my time too much on a B plan, which means that when I have to take a decision, I want to take it even though I do not have the perfect condition to take a decision, but I would like to take a decision. Why? Because the most important thing in decision making is then you will have to trigger action behind. You have to make things moving. You will have to initiate action, motivate people. And this energy, if you want to materialize something, should be put in the action afterwards. So spending time in analyzing a lot is good, but you should have only a plan A. And if you fail, then lessons learned and you do something else, you try to catch back. But do not, let's say, start making a decision process with, okay, I have plan A, B, C, D, and I have a whole bunch of let's say, options, because then this is the energy that you will put in developing things that you would never use. This is one thing. And reality is that in all decisions you will make in your projects, there will be always the same thing. You will never ever have the right condition to take decision, the good decision, and the result will never ever be just in line with what you was believing. So that's why, for me, managing your energy is very important, because every day you have to take important decisions for financial purposes, for personal purpose, for your mental health, for your health, for everything. You will have to take a decision. And this is a kind of daily task that you have to do. You have kids, you have a decision. You are married, you have a decision. You are at work, you have to take a decision. And bottom line, you sleep 6 hours, 8 hours, depending on the people. I'm sleeping 5 hours, right? And then as soon as I'm waking up, I have to take some decision already. For example, today, I have taken a decision to, first of all, to be here with you guys, to share with you. But at the same time, I have taken a decision to be at a convention that was finishing. So, but at the same time, I needed to manage the kids. So what should I do? I decided, okay, I will go to the convention, I would come here, and then I will put my energy to materialize everything. So that's why, for me, if you want to be successful, I think that it's very important then to manage your energy and then to really focus on execution, on materializing a decision. So what is important, in my opinion, is that you will have a lot of decisions to be taken every day, but don't have too many options, because then you will lose energy, and you need energy for the execution, to materialize things. So this is, I think, what I would like to share here for the first stage. I don't know if you have a different opinion.
I completely agree. I was going to say the same, actually. It's important to reduce the number of options. So for me, maybe I'll give a little bit more context. During my student years, what I was doing was always going step by step. Meaning that by the end of my high school years, when the question was, what do I want to do at university? I looked a bit, what do I like as subject? I like mathematics, science. Okay, sometimes people like mathematics. So I just did engineering. And then, same question 3 years later, bachelor degree, I need to choose a type of engineering. There's mechanical, chemical, software, and so on. I looked at what I liked, the courses, the lab, and I chose electricity. Finally, in the master, the last choice we need to do is what type of specialization do we really want to do? And then I realized, wow, actually none of them are really something that I see myself working on. So a bit of a crisis, because I realized that I was missing the bigger picture. So I had to roll back a little bit and look at what were my options. The good thing with the engineering degree in Belgium, I think it gives you a very versatile background, so you can do a lot of different things. So I just somehow built a tree where each of my branches were options, and at the end of each branches you have a leaf, and the leaf was a type of career path. Here, like you said, many options, you can really easily get stuck into the moment where you need to decide. So I thought, okay, maybe now it's the moment I should cut some of the branches. So again, some introspection. I looked at what I really liked when I was a student, the project I really liked, what was really giving me chills, and it was mostly data analysis. So I started to cut some branches, keeping the data science one. Even in the data science, you have other subdivisions. Well, I won't get too technical now, but again, same question. Do I see myself into the data engineering part or the data science part purely? And again, cutting branches. So I believe that, again, like you said, we only have 24 hours in a day. If we are stuck in the endless possibilities, which is a great thing, I think we live in a world with many options, working in Belgium, working abroad, working in field A or field B, but it's still important to take a step back, really understand what we want, and try to reduce the number of options in order to be able to make a decision.
Yeah, and the thing I would like to share is that from my very personal perspective, what really makes me feel uncomfortable is just to be static. So if you want to spend time to decide, to modelize, to do things, it's kind of frustrating, because I like the execution of the idea. So deciding at a point of time is one step, but then you need to materialize, to execute. Therefore, the more time you will develop options, the less time you will have to execute. And then with the execution, you will have what we call the reality check. And reality check will show you, okay, this was good or bad. But until this is executed, this is pure concept, this is only theory, and this is not my, I would say, my thing. I like to execute, even though this is not the right thing, but then I will learn, and then I will then redo, and I will make it better. So for me, what is important is that the way you will have to explore, let's say, the evolution in terms of decision-making process is very much, okay, don't stay still, move, execute. It's better to take a decision and then to move with a team than just to be in a very uncertain situation and then that people will wait for you. So you need to show the direction and then you show confidence, and then don't plan for something that that you will not, let's say, don't plan for activities that you will not even do, because the point is that this is simply a loss of energy, a loss of time. This is a pure waste for me. So I preferred when I speak with people, just okay, let's go for it, and then if we are, let's say, if we fail, then okay, let's meet why we fail, and let's try to do something out of it. So for me, this is like, you know, my initial sharing.
First question from Vivox. So can you share with us one unsuccessful decision which taught you a lesson you didn't expect to learn?
Yep. Okay. I think it was in my first career within Japanese manufacturer, Toyota. And I was at that time a young analyst, and in terms of decision making, I made a decision because, you know, in the automotive industry, in a sales of vehicles, you have a product life cycle. A product life cycle, it means that in average, a life cycle for a vehicle is 5 years. So you launch the vehicle, then you will then have a commit size, and then you will have the phase out of the vehicle because the new generation will come into the market. And when you are in the middle of the life cycle of a product, what we are trying to do in the automotive industry is to put marketing actions, just then to make sure that then you will still produce and then sell the same vehicle for additional 2-3 years. And this is what we call for those people, the facelift of a vehicle. I know that during the facelift action, we needed to make a kind of marketing action, and then we needed to, let's say, produce, I think, 50,000 vehicles with a special edition with 14-inch alloy wheels. And I remember that, okay, they said, okay, Virasac, please forecast. I said, okay, I have no information. What should I do? And then I was so much under pressure that I just decided just to use the pattern of the last month and then use it for the forecast for the vehicle. What happened in terms of failure is that I wanted to move. This is my mindset. I wanted to do my job, and I want to respect the production scheduling. So I just make a forecast. Bottom line, I made a very huge mistake because in the past, we did not anticipate the specification of the facelift. Therefore, we need to make a retrofit of 50,000 vehicles on pan-European level. So I learned a lot from that one, that okay, sometimes I also have to consider a bit the impact because moving too far. So for me, the lessons learned here is that, okay, I wanted to take a decision because I wanted to move, I wanted to respect my schedule, I wanted to, you know, to move. But then in that regards, at that stage of my career, maybe I was, let's say, too fast thinking. So I think that this is the difference between taking a decision and having no plan B and fast thinking. Because if you think too fast, then you will maybe lose sight. So spend time quality in your decision-making process, but don't spend too many options. But in the decision-making you will do, make sure that you will have the best information before you will take.
Perfect. Elie, you want to share an example?
I think it's a bit what I explained. Clearly, if I had done one bad decision, maybe it was the master I chose. But again, you live and you learn, so I don't really regret it. I understood better how I should have taken the approach of selecting the field I want to work in. So that would be my answer, I guess.
Okay, perfect. Trying and learning. So from what I understand, you have a different perspective about decision making, even if you think kind of the same. How do you integrate the risk factors into your decision making process towards success? You are at different stage of your life, so how do you integrate these factors? Risk factors. Sorry, Elie, you can start first.
I will be maybe a bit controversial. I would say if the answer is not clearly obvious, probably your answer is a no. That comes from readings I made, and the idea basically is that society evolves much faster than our brain, and our brain is actually closer to our ancestors 10,000 years ago that were hunter-gatherers. At that time, they were living in society of maybe 120, 200 people. They had much, much less choice to do on a daily basis, less big, important decision to make. So thing is that our brain are not really made to make decision every day. So I would say there, we live still in a world with endless possibilities. So if it's not obvious, it might not be the right thing for you. And then maybe it's better to wait for the next opportunity and be prepared and ready to embrace the next opportunity. I'm spoiling a little bit your answer, I guess. So if I have to relate to a personal experience, again, as a student, I wanted to have an experience abroad, to an exchange program. So very early, I was going to the info session, trying to see what were the potential destinations. And with the list of potential destinations from my faculty, I didn't really see a city where I could see myself living for a few months. And then years later came the opportunity to go to Copenhagen. And then it just clicked for me. I knew that it was the thing I wanted to do. And now it was also one of the best experiences I had as a student. So maybe for me, if I could answer, I would say risky decisions either make it obvious for you or probably be ready for the next one.
Perfect. Virasak?
Well, you spoil a bit, but it's okay. But what I would like to share here is that in terms of risk, I was believing for many years that I was risk averse and that I was acting accordingly. And this is what I was believing. Today, I know that I'm still risk averse, but during my whole career, if I look back, I never ever act as a risk averse. This is the one thing I would like to share. So there's a difference between, okay, the perception that you will have on risk and how you will really act upon. So this is one thing that you have to bear in mind. And in my case, first of all, I don't like to talk about risk, but I prefer to say I embrace opportunity. And because I think this is more positive, and also it enables you to move, to be in movement, and then to evolve. Just to give a very concrete example, that in France, when I finalized my study a couple of years ago, at that time in France, the unemployment rate was at 9%. And all my colleagues were very, very much afraid, okay, we're going to finish our study, and what happened next? And everybody was afraid about the risk of being unemployed after the study. In my mindset, it was a bit different. I said, okay, but it's 9% on a local base, but if I consider the market as a global, maybe I have no risk to be unemployed. Bottom line, my first job after I finished my study was in French Guiana, because there was a job in French Guiana, close to Brazil. So this is one thing. Then, after a year time in French Guiana, it was nice, but all my friends were in Europe. So what I did, I just decided in 1 month flight, I said, okay, I leave it. I prefer to move. And then at that time, I remember that I arrived at the airport of Paris-Orly. And I had my backpack and something like 1,000 French francs in my pocket, $150. And with that, I said, okay, what should I do? Then I start taking my phone. At the time, you put a coin, your phone, getting in touch with my friends, and then, okay, after a while, I got an interview in Germany. And at that time, I had only few money, so I didn't have money to buy a tie. So I borrowed the necktie of the fathers of a friend to go to my interview in Germany, and then get the job in Germany. So the next step was going in Germany. And after a year time in Germany, because it was too German, then I got the chance to work in Belgium. So therefore, I think that some people said, okay, risk it can be high, but at the other hand, if you consider in terms of, let's say, opportunity, you can say the world is an opportunity. So if you are not afraid of embracing the opportunity, you can have something. So risk is a perception. This is for mobility. I can give another example in terms of risk perception is also in terms of career move. So as I mentioned during the introduction, I've been working here for almost 10 years' time, right? But before that, I almost spent 11 years within Toyota with a career that was pretty well defined. But 10 years ago, I decided to join from a big company to a small company of 60 employees. So at that time, I remember that I was waiting for my third kid, and my ex-wife was saying, okay, what are you doing? It doesn't even exist. So I have to go in LinkedIn to show the website. No, this is a real company, but 60 people. This was, but I took the risk. Why? Because I could see the opportunity. because when I first met Philip Metz during my interview, so we were talking about opportunities of doing things by, if I say, okay, if you can propose something, okay, let's see. But show me first, and then we'll see. So I said, okay, I took board, and then I resigned from Toyota and started within this as consultant first. And 10 years after, okay, here I am. So that's why for me, in terms of risk, I think that this is, everything is here. Risk is about how you will perceive it, and then it depends on how you want to, let's say, tackle the situation. But for me, what is, let's say, how do I integrate my decision making? But well, I try to see more, let's say, opportunities than risk. Even though, fundamentally, I'm risk averse. I don't like risk, but the way I act is completely different. I act as a risk taker, but I think as a risk averse. So.
Okay. Question for Elie. So it's from the Vivox. It should be for both of you, but he spoke a bit more than you. So do you have an advice or tip to people highly adverse to risk whom can lose great opportunities by being afraid of taking some decisions?
Okay, I would say that it's better to make mistakes than not taking action at all. At least if you make the decision and it was a risky decision that goes wrong, you can learn something from it. So it's better to take action than just be a spectator of your own life.
And are you a risk taker?
Am I a risk taker? I would say personal life maybe, career-wise.
Give us some examples.
We
We want to know.
Sky jumping, something I did, really nice. I bet sometimes, not too much.
Is it successful or unsuccessful?
That's a tricky question. No, but career-wise, but in a nutshell, I would say take actions. It's better to make mistakes than not taking any decision at all.
Okay. Any tip?
Any tip? This is my conclusion, dare to fail.
Dare to fail, okay. But we will see like this advice after. Okay, so let's move on the third question. So the third question is, how do you know that the decision you're making will have a successful impact on your life? Virasak, you can start.
I will try to manage my time.
No worries.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay,
It's
good.
very
We have
interesting.
plenty
Please
of
go
time,
ahead.
no worries.
Well, for that third question here, in my opinion, at a certain stage in terms of decision making, if you want to impact your life, you need and you have to be selfish. You have to think for yourself what is good for you, financially, mentally, from health, for everything. You have to think first for you, because even though you have the accountability, you have a partner, you have kids, you have whatever, well, if you do not feel comfortable within your shoes, then you will not be able to contribute and to help others. So before you would do something, take decision for yourself. This is very important because this is a starting point. Just to give a very, very concrete example, one of the biggest decisions that I made in order to be successful mentally here is that, as you know, I have 4 kids. Okay, this is not easy, but I'm also divorced. That was not easy as a decision-making process. And at the point of time, before taking that decision of separation, I remember that, okay, I have a lot of discussion with family, with friends, okay, what do you think? And every time I said, okay, you have only 4 kids, you have a mortgage, you have a dog, you have many things. Why? Are you sure you want to do that? And what I realized after thinking is that by taking the decision not to get separated, then what would happen is that I would do things that in terms of would impact me, let's say, indirectly for a very long time period in a very negative way mentally. And then by doing, let's say, not mentally ready, I would not be good for as a husband, as a father, as a friend, and as a colleague here within Intis. So it was a very hard decision, but by doing this, I decided, okay, to have a one-hit big time, okay, fine. But afterwards, you feel better here. And then you perform better. You even have a better relation with your ex-wife, suddenly, yeah? You are better, a cooler dad, because they are all impressed. Oh, but Dad, we didn't know that you could cook. Yeah, I can do it. Okay, we spend time together, right? many things open up afterwards because the starting point is that, okay, I need to feel better here. So in all the decisions you would take, if you want to be successful in life, be selfish, think for yourself first. I think it's very important here. And then, if you are, let's say, good in that area, then you can do many things. This is my advice to you.
Perfect. Elie, some question?
Yes, thank you. I think I have a bit of different experience also, given the fact that I'm more junior in my career. I would say we can learn a lot from others. And as a junior, I think it's very interesting to get a mentor, someone who has done more or less the same thing as you, with a little bit more experience, who has another eye on your decisions, your struggles, and that can give feedback and help you reassess the decision you have made. I think we never reinvent the wheel. We have many people on Earth, probably many people who have the same struggle, many people who made the same career path or similar career path at least. And personally, as an intern, when I was trying to break into data science, I was working with someone who was very experienced and who gave me a lot of tips, either work-wise or more in the career, how I can make the best out of my first years in my career. Even now, I think at Intis we have the chance to have also mentored who are helping us. When we are working at a client, we can also get feedback from the people who are working with on a daily basis. And that's something personally that helps me a lot, reassessing my choice, knowing maybe in advance if a decision could go wrong. I don't think it's easy to know that a decision will be successful, but at least you can put on the side all the decisions that are probably going to fail. So my advice would be get a mentor. That could help you a lot, I guess.
Okay. Question: who is your mentor right now?
My mentor right now.
In the past few years.
I have someone at Luminous I work a lot with 10 years experience more than me. So he helps me a bit more on the projects. So I would say that's for the technical part. For the rest, I have the chance to work with Karim. And Karim is also great with me. So for all the rest of the decision, interesting that I go to Karim to have another take on what I do.
Okay, perfect. And if your mentor goes completely in the different way, I mean, if you go to him, if you ask him for an advice, and he tells you something you don't really want to hear,
okay.
Would you like to, I mean, would you go for what he said, or you will challenge?
Not necessarily. I think it's, the goal is not to mimic everything the mentor did in his life. So it would be very interesting if we have complete diverging opinions. That will maybe first make me think, okay, am I really right? Does it feel really natural for me? But then again, if I don't feel like going with his advice, I rather make a mistake following my guts, learning from it, and then rediscussing with him, because I guess himself, he didn't have the chance to do all the decisions. So maybe in the end, I could have been right, and he could be the one who learned something.
And you choose two mentors. Why? Like you spoke about the technical aspect, but
yes,
what else? How do you become a good mentor for people?
I would say, well, I would ask Karim maybe.
Yeah.
I would say
why
first.
Why did you choose him?
Yeah, because he's a good listener. He first tried to understand my point of view, and then he started discussion, challenge a little bit what I offer, and also, I mean, there is something going out of the discussion. It's not only a moment where we sit and have a talk. I really see that weeks after, months after, if I need something to be done, he's taking actions. So that's what I also appreciate in mentoring.
Okay. And what about you, Virasak? You're mentoring people, and how do you do it? Do you do it like from instinct, or from like, I don't know, lessons learned, or anything else from like studies?
The way I like to mentor people is I take a lot of attention on, let's say, giving the freedom to people. So which means that I believe that you learn by doing, and I believe that professionally I call this on-the-job learning, which means that I like people in a very controlled manner to let them fail, because then you learn much more from your failure. And the way I like to mentor people is I give maybe some general framework, but I like that at the end of the day, the mentee will experiment, will execute, will make the reality check by himself or by herself. And by this reality check, he or she will learn his or her own way of doing the things. Because there's no best way. Because if I try to impose my way, you know, from a guy of 45 years old and from a millennial or, you know, the generation of today, there's a completely different way of working. So they need to experiment things. And the way I like to mentor people is via what we call reality check. Is that okay? What is your reality today? And you have to confront to your reality. You might be successful, you might fail, but if you fail, then you will learn. And normally, you have a bigger learning curve by doing this kind of approach by reality check. It's not, in my opinion, getting certification, getting a lot of courses that you will be, let's say, very good in decision making, and you will not grow. You will grow by being confronted to reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to you, who has been your best mentor in the past, or maybe now, actually?
The best mentor I have was my first Japanese manager.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember that the very first time I arrived at the meeting, I was late of 5 minutes, and he said that you just make the company losing a lot of money here, because I'm expatriate, I'm here, and you're late. So
Very Japanese.
the very first learning is that, okay, be rigorous. Okay. But I was young, so I needed to learn. So, but the way, why I think it was a very, let's say, good, in my opinion, good mentor, is because I had the opportunity to fail a lot with him. He was protecting me when I was failing, but he was pushing me to the limits and not giving me the answer. So I needed to deliver something, but then if I fail, then he would protect. And then when you have someone who gives you the opportunity to fail, then I think that he's a good mentor, but in a controlled manner, of course.
Okay, perfect. And Elie, do you think like your relationship with your mentors is implicit or explicit? Have you ever asked them to become your mentors? And how do you develop this relationship with them?
I never did, but if I have, I mean, if in the future I need another one, I will bluntly ask. I think it's the biggest compliment you can give to someone you work with. But for what happened up till now, it was really implicit. It was really, I mean, Karim is my manager, so I guess that's even more natural. But at work, it's really because we work a lot together. He's giving me more and more responsibilities, and he's giving me a lot of feedback. So that was created also like this.
Okay. I have a question for both of you. There are mistakes and mistakes that can have permanent effect. I believe sometimes cautiousness is also very important. What do you think?
Well, I think that at the point of time, I think that it can be a bottleneck to move ahead. So because life, in my opinion, is about getting hurt. So if you believe that it's a wonderland, I think, in my opinion, you are completely wrong. This is my opinion. But of course, there is a difference between taking risk and be irresponsible. For example, I have a few kids. Some of them will go to university soon. So I will not take the same risk as before. But I have also to take risk if I want to evolve, if I want to reach something ambitious. So this is also a balance. But I think that being cautious is one thing, but I think we have to balance between when you have the accountability, the responsibility, and when you want to have something. I think that this is a kind of balance that you need to do. So there's no, I think, straight answer to that question. But but this is my strong belief. I really believe that it's best to go for failure than to do nothing. Because otherwise, you will just have what we call regret. And, life is too short.
I agree. I think it's, again, a question of balance, like Vera said, explained. Someone who never takes risk is wasting a lot of opportunities. Someone who's always taking risk is probably irresponsible. So finding the right balance, measuring also if the mistake can be permanent, maybe taking more time to really thinking about the decision before taking it. But again, we also learn and we also sometimes here to fail. So we don't have to be so afraid, I think.
Okay, perfect. We can move on. So for the conclusion, I asked them to have one book recommendation and one advice. Could you explain why you choose both of those options?
Should I start? Okay. My book is Thinking Fast and Slow. It's a book about psychology, how we think. I gave this book as an advice because it explains a lot of biases that we do on a daily basis. And I think in the decision-making process, it's really nice to understand sometimes the pitfall of our thinking process. So it's also a nice book to read. So that was my suggestion. And I guess you can see that my tips was to find a mentor. I think at any point of your career, it's probably something nice to have.
Yes.
Well, I decided to go for The Art of War. For a few reasons. The first one is that because you can read it at different stage of your career, and every time you will have another version of the book. This is one thing. The second thing is that this is a book that pushes you to do things. This is a very tactical, let's say, book. And one area of the book that I like very much is when Sun Tzu was referring to maneuver, but in a military way. But the thing that was very interesting that he was referring in the maneuver that look for, let's say, all the drawback as an opportunity. That when you say the weakness, this is not the weakness of a plan, but maybe you have to think about the opportunity for the execution. So therefore, I think that this is very much in my mindset. Meaning that, and then I've been reading this maybe last time it was last year. Last year I read it for second time, and then every time I was reading the book here, I could have a kind of another, let's say, vision of the way I should proceed, because with the experience, then you will evolve. You will change your mind in something, and then you fine-tune the way you will be tactical in your professional or in your, let's say, personal life. And I think it's a very good book and easy to read. This is what I like. When it's too complicated, I don't like, but it's quite easy to read. And then it helps me to say, okay, go for it, and then you should be afraid to go for failure. Because if you plan properly, then the failure is quite under control. So I think that this is a bit of a mixture of, let's say, different point of view that you will see. But the part of the book that is linked to maneuver, in terms of war, I think is very important, because he said, okay, turn let's say, your weaknesses into opportunity to win the war. I think this is interesting for me.
Just one more question from Vivox. How much time does it take for you before taking a big decision in your life?
Personally, I think it's really how I work, but sometimes I know the answer already, but it takes me a lot of time to realize it. And it's usually talking with friends, family, and just at some point it clicks and I realize that, okay, actually I knew the answer right away, just that I had to realize that because sometimes it goes with a risk, that it was the right thing for me.
Perfect. Virasak?
For me, it depends on the impact. If I am the only one who will have the impact, it can be very short. If the impact will be others, then it will take time because of responsibility. It's just like if this is in my private life, if I take a decision that will impact nobody except me, then fine, I will do it. But if it impact the kids, I would think. In my professional life, this is the same. If during a project I'm the only one who is impacted, then fine, there's no issue. Philip will yell at me. But if I have a team behind, then I have to think about the impact because I'm not the only one involved. So it really depending on the impact, and if I can say that I will take higher risk if the impact is only on myself, and lower risk if others will be impacted.
Okay, I think it's time to thank you. First of all, the speakers, Annick, who is not here with us. She couldn't make it tonight, but thanks Eleye, thanks Virasak. It was a pleasure to get to know you better. Thank you for the development team. It was a real pleasure to create this event, create this project with you all. So thanks Marie, who is taking care of Virasac kids right now.
Thank you,
Agathe, who has a meeting at her company. Max here. Thanks Amandine and Iri for your unconditional support always, so thank you so much. Thanks Vincent for recording this event, for the others teachers, and Romario for the initiation of this session, so thank you so much. Thank you for the trust you gave me. I hope you enjoyed this event, and just before to follow me at the lunch, I would like you to please fulfill this small survey. It takes 5 minutes, and it will help us improve the next event. So thank you so much for being here, and thanks again for the speakers.